Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is my March making plans video, and I'm going to be chatting about all of the projects that I'm going to pick to keep me company in the coming weeks. And if you are relatively new to the channel, I do this by employing a little bit of a game of chance. I'm someone who likes to have a lot of works in progress on the go at any one time, and I can use that as an excuse to procrastinate sometimes and not make too much progress. So over the last couple of years, at the start of each month, I've started playing a little bit of a game where I have myself a set of prompt cards and a multiple sided dice, and I just roll my dice, and whatever prompt that picks, that helps me to just narrow down my choices and focus in on a few projects to hopefully progress in the month. So this video is one of those, and I'm about to roll my dice. I usually roll the dice 4 times to try and pick out 4 projects to keep me company over the coming weeks. So yeah, let's get on without further ado and roll those dice.
Aren't meant to be broken. Take me to where the mountains can kill. People are free and time stands still. Whatever makes my heart come to life or fall apart. Show me the best, the worst of the world. I hope that's the life that you
I've got some nice prompts again, I think, this month. One prompt which will take me to a very specific project, and the other 3 which I will have a little bit of choice, a little bit of say around. So yeah, before we get to that, 2 things. First is I'm wearing my Angelica top today because I'm getting asked more and more about what I'm wearing. You can't see it too well, but it's a short sleeved kind of tunicky kind of top, and it's a pattern by Erica Knight, and I knit this quite a few years ago now, and it's using the Erica Knight British Blue wool, I think it's called, which is the Blue Face Leicester base, and it's a lovely sort of cable-y top. And so yes, that is what I'm wearing. The second thing, before I can pick any of my projects as prompted by the dice, we're adding a fun new element to my making plans videos from this month. If you watched my January making wrap-up video, you might have heard me asking for volunteers, because one of our lovely community members, Beverly, suggested that I try to get the community involved a little bit more in these making plans videos by asking for volunteers to pick a project for me. So this is the first month that we're going to have someone specific choose a specific project for me. Hopefully this is going to add a little bit of a fun, unexpected for me element to the making game. The idea is whoever gets picked, and it's going to be a random pick from everyone that has volunteered, can literally choose anything for me to work on. So they are absolutely welcome to choose anything from my works in progress list, but if none of those strike their fancy, they are more than welcome to pick a new project for me to start, and I'm literally willing to have a go at anything. If it means that I have to treat myself to a new pattern or some new yarn, I'm totally open for that. So it could be that whoever gets chosen has a favourite project that they've made in the past. They might pick that for me. They perhaps have seen a pattern out there that they would love to see knit up but don't fancy doing it themselves. I am more than happy to cast that on and have a go. So yeah, literally anything goes. So what I've done is I have popped everyone who's volunteered, I've popped their names into this sort of random spinning wheel thingy. There's an app that I've picked, and you can just plug everyone's name, and yeah, you just spin the wheel and get a random pick. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to hold it up to the camera while I'm doing it to see if that footage is okay and you can see it, but also at the same time I am going to try and screen record so that if the camera doesn't want to focus on the wheel, then I can pop in hopefully the screen recording footage. So everyone's name is in the spinner. I think on the screen at least it looked like that got captured okay, but I will just stop recording my screen and that will hopefully save that. The lovely Kathy, who is Mountain Pearl, has been chosen to pick one of my projects. So before I pick my projects relating to the dice rolls, I'm going to get Kathy to hopefully get in contact with me and pick a project for me. I won't then pick a project that Kathy's going to choose, if that makes sense. So I want to try and have 5 different projects to work on throughout the month of March. So I'm going to get Kathy to choose, and then I'm going to come back and we'll pick some projects based on the dice rolls. So depending on how quickly Kathy is able to respond to me, I may be recording the rest of this video later today, or it may be in a couple of days time. So yeah, we might have an outfit change. I'll try and remember what I'm wearing and put this back on again. Going forward, I am going to keep this element going for the next few months, and we'll see how it pans out. So I will actually be now removing Kathy's name from the randomizer. Everyone else who said that they would be interested in picking a project for me will just stay on that little wheel. So it's not too late to join in. If you haven't already said that you want to pick a project for me, then let me know in the comments below and I will happily add you onto the wheel. If for any reason the project that you had in mind, because I know some people said they knew exactly what project they wanted to pick for me, so if over the course of the coming sort of few months the project that you were really interested in seeing gets finished and you want to be removed from the wheel, or for any other reason you want to be removed from the wheel, then let me know. Other than that, you don't need to comment again. If you've already commented to say that you want to go on the wheel, your name will be on there until either your name gets picked, we stop playing this game, or you tell me to remove your name. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I'm back. It's 24 hours later for me. Just a couple of seconds for you. And I want to say a big thank you to Kathy for getting back to me so quickly with her project choice, particularly given the time difference between us. I'm obviously here in Wales in the UK. Kathy is over in the US. Kathy sent me a little message that made me chuckle, because she said she looked at my projects and contemplated picking The Dude for me, which if you followed the channel for a while you'll know that The Dude, which is a project that I'm supposed to be knitting for James, a big colourwork cardigan, has been my nemesis and it's been on the needles for years at this point. And I'm fully expecting someone to pick that for me at some point if we carry on this game, because I know one of you out there will get a kick out of seeing my misery. But I think I might have been a bit salty if the first person to pick my project picked The Dude. So thank you to Kathy for thinking about it and then moving on. What Kath did in fact pick for me is a project that I am really thrilled to be going back to, and it's a project from my 2021 iteration of the 12 cast-ons, and it's the Sea Glass Tea, which is a pattern by, can I remember the pattern designer? No, I can't. I will put it up on the screen. I want to say Woolen something, Woolen Pine maybe? I don't know. I'll pop it up on the screen. I picked a whole bunch of single skeins of yarn out of my stash, inspired by this beautiful green colour from Attic Spin Dye, and I cast on the Sea Glass Tea, which is a great project for either using up single skeins in your stash or even using up bits and pieces. It's basically a 1x1 colourwork sweater pattern. I've got way more yarn than I'll actually need in this giant project bag. Sorry for the jingles. This is a project bag that I bought many years ago from the lovely Lee of Luli, back when they were making project bags, and I've got all sorts of yarns in that bag. I'll try and link, if you're interested in finding out more about the project and the yarns that I picked, I'll try and link the cast on video. Yeah, this is going to be great. I've still got a long way to go, as you can see. I think I only picked it up maybe once last year, maybe not even that, I can't remember. It's going to be really fun to get back into this pattern. And this coming weekend, by the time this video goes up, James and I are actually going away for a weekend with a couple of our friends, and I think this will be a great project to take with me, because I don't have to concentrate too much. As I say, it's one by one colour work throughout. I'm just swapping my yarns in every now and then. So yeah, I think I'm going to throw that in the back of the car. We're going to be hiring a car, and I'll take that one with me to work on. So thank you so much for that lovely pick, Kath. Just popping my needle tube back on the end of the needles so the stitches don't go awry. Now, Kath also said to me, and I think I might be cheeky, she said, if you fancy a new cast on, I've spotted that in your queue, so my queue, I have the Craggy Shore socks, which is a free pattern, I believe, on Ravelry by Blue Mouse Designs. And Kath said that she also had this in her queue as well, so she might be grabbing a skein and casting on. So I'll put a picture of the socks up on the screen now. They look fairly simple. I haven't downloaded the pattern yet, but it looks like maybe a slip stitch or a twisted stitch. I would say maybe a twisted stitch pattern. So I think I might actually cast those on as well. I might get Kath to pick 2 projects. Now, I think the likelihood of me finishing either of these projects is quite small. I mean, socks don't usually take me too long, but my sock mojo is a bit spare at the moment. But I'm thinking that maybe these socks might be the thing that reignites my sock knitting mojo. So yeah, I'm willing to cast it on, and if the project sort of sits and stays and hangs around as a work in progress for a while, then hey, one more to add to the party won't really matter. So I've picked out a skein of yarn already for my sock, and this is a skein from Joy to the Wool, and it's the Autumn Jaunt colourway. And this was a lovely gift from one of our community members, Kate. And Kate sent me a box of yarn a little while ago with some prizes for Yarn and Yarns, the prize pot. She said to me, please pick a skein out of the box for something for you to keep for yourself as well. So this was the skein that I picked. There were some lovely skeins in there. It was a hard choice. So I think this might make for a nice craggy shore. It looks like the yarn used in the pattern has a sort of variegated kind of speckle to it, and this yarn looks like it might have a similar effect. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to get that wound up, and at some point in the month I will also be casting on the Craggy Shore socks, a new cast on, because I need one of those. So once again, thank you to everyone who volunteered to go into the wheel. You didn't know you were going to be put into a wheel, but into the sort of random picker. And I will continue that fun addition to the making plans over the coming months. Okay, let's get back to the dice roll picks. So I've got my 4 cards, and once again I'd like to thank my lovely friend Simone for these beautiful set of cards, and I'll link Simone's channel below. And she does lots of wonderful journaling and planning videos. She occasionally pops up a knitting video, but she hasn't done one of those for a while. So I've got one project here, which is random number generator, which is going to lead me to a specific project. I'm going to pop in all of my works in progress. I've got 25 on the needles at the moment, so I'm going to pop those 1 to 25 and get a random number generated from that. If it happens to generate the sea glass tea, so I'm going to have 1 as my oldest project, 25 as my newest, and if the random number generator does happen to pick the sea glass tea, I will roll again. Hey lovelies, well, as I went to edit this video, I realised that I'd forgot to press record when I was doing the random number generator. However, as luck would have it, I've still got the page open on my phone. So hopefully you can see, although you didn't get to see me generate the number, you can see it picked number 323, which, as I was waffling, I thought was my dappled light shawl, and I was correct. I have had a rummage behind me. I found the relevant project bag, and it is the dappled light shawl, so the project that I cast on day 10 of the 12 cast-ons. So I shall be working on this throughout the month. This is my progress on day 1. And it's a project that I picked from the Forest issue of Making magazine, and I'm using some hand spun singles yarn for this. This was some Nellie and Eve Blueface Leicester, so dyed by Nellie and Eve, Blueface Leicester. I spun it up on my spindles as a singles not long after I first got the fibre back in 2020, and I was going to weave with it, and instead it's been languishing, so I decided to pick it out for this project. I really enjoyed the subtle shifting of the delicate colours when I was knitting with this hand spun on the first day, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to that one. So that will be project number 3 if I cast on the socks. We've got a sweater, some socks and a shawl so far, so that's quite a nice mix. Don't remember if I said, but that was roll number 5. Again, I'm not doing these necessarily in the order that they came up in. The next was number 10, and that is charity. That prompt is just to make something for charity, for donation. And last year I made a bunch of hats and a few pairs of socks. I tried to do those at a rate of about 1 per month. I think some months I did a few, some months I didn't knit anything, but overall I had, I think, more than 12 projects to donate by the end of the year. So for that prompt this month, I'm going to continue working through. I've got this wheel of sock tubes and this one here as well that were cranked up by my friend Charlie, and these were originally yarns that were donated for the Socks for West Midlands Ambulance Service Sock Appeal, but this last batch Charlie wasn't able to crank them up in time for the end of that sock appeal, so I've still got a few of these tubes left, and in December I knitted up a few pairs of socks and sent them off. So I'm going to continue working through this sock tube. It would be nice to get these out of the house. I have been thinking about maybe attempting to make a couple of pairs of fingerless mitts from these tubes rather than just socks, because honestly I have knit so many socks from sock tubes over the last couple of years, I'm a bit done with it. But I will make probably a couple more pairs of socks. But I was thinking it might be just as easy to convert these to a pair of fingerless mitts by adding some ribbing around the bottom and the top, and then rather than when you convert these into socks you're cutting across the whole of one half of the tube, but I figured I could cut in a little thumb hole and then do a little bit of ribbing for a sort of topless thumb. I might have a go at that. We were chatting about it actually when I was on my weekend away with friends in February, and I was saying I still had these but I was a little bit socked out, and so fingerless mitts were suggested, so I might have a play around with that and see if I can get that to work. So either way, these will start getting converted into socks or mitts. So that will be the project that I pick for the charity prompt this month. And then I have 2 more prompts left. Number 4 was colour work and number 18 was handspun, and I think we had this one last month as well. And it's funny, isn't it, because colour work, I've already got my sea glass, so that could easily have popped into this prompt, and handspun, I've got my dappled light shawl, so that could easily have popped into that prompt as well. So yeah, I'm going to have 2 colour work projects and 2 handspun projects on the needles this month, which is fun. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do for these. So I'm just going to have a little rifle through my Ravelry project list again, and I shall come back in a second once I have made a decision. This is the downside of sitting right in front of my projects, is that when I want to find them I have to shuffle around and get out of the way. Okay, colour work, I have made a decision, and actually I'm going to cheat slightly again and pick 2 projects for this, because I want to continue with my Advent mitten garland, which I have mentioned in quite a few episodes recently, and it was one of my 12 cast-ons from 2022. I'm making 24 sort of mini mittens that will, once they're finished, form a little Advent garland. Sensible part of my brain is like, pick that because you want to work on that anyway. But I also have one other small-ish colour work project that I cast on for this iteration of the 12 cast-ons. It's called the Wildflowers Cap by Mary Jane Muckleston, and as I'm getting this out of the bag, the stitches are slipping off of the needles, of course they are. But I made quite a good start on this project on the first day of the cast on. This was day number 6, and it's all scrunched up on the needles, so it's difficult to show. But this is a lovely colour work hat, and I'm knitting mine from 2 colours of Mendip DK from Marina Skewer. And Marina has been hosting a knit along called, I think it's called the Out of the Dark knit along, which I think ran from the winter solstice and is going to spring equinox, I think. So it will be finishing in March. So it'd be quite nice if I could knit up the hat, because the criteria is knit something either using Marina's yarn or one of Marina's patterns. So it'd be quite nice to finish up this hat and enter it into Marina's knit along, and that's quite a small project. So in theory, if I put a little bit of effort into that, then I should be able to finish that in March, and that'll be quite nice to knock a project off of the whips list. So yeah, that was the wildflower cap from the Flora issue of Making magazine, although this magazine is quite old now, so I'm imagining that this pattern would probably be available as a single pattern now too. I'm going to pick 2 projects. I'm giving myself a lot of work to do here, aren't I? But March is a fairly long month, isn't it? At least it always feels like that after the short month of February. So that just leaves handspun to pick. And again, I've got quite a lot of projects that incorporate my handspun that I could choose from for this prompt, but I think I'm going to pick the litmus cowl, which is a pattern that I was working on last month too, and where I got to last month was swatching for the main colour for my cowl, and I really like to properly get this on the needles and to progress with it. I've started spinning the first little bit of fibre that I'm going to use for the main colour. So my plan is to spin up that main colour fibre just in sort of batches as and when I have time, and then sort of cast on and start knitting, and then spin more of that main colour as and when I need to. Hopefully progress the project that way. So I think I'm going to continue working on that because I've been enjoying that, and it brings in a little bit of spinning to the mix as well as knitting. So yeah, litmus cowl. So again, that's another one of my older projects, which is good because that means of the 5 picks, so the 4 dice rolls and Kathy's pick, I'll have 2 of my older projects, so the sea glass and the litmus, 2 of my newer projects, the shawl and the hat. So yeah, I think that's a nice mix, as well as potentially the new socks and the mittens and the charity socks. Yeah, that's a lot. Why do I do this to myself? It's because I love making, and the more I put it on the list, the more I strive to achieve. That's what I tell myself anyway. That's it, we've reached the end of another video. I feel like this might be a slightly longer one than usual for my making plans because I've done a lot of waffling and rambling. But as always, please let me know in the comments below either which of these projects that I've picked are you most excited to see me progress? Which one do you think I should try and put the most effort into? I know some folks are playing along with the dice game. So if you're playing along, what are you picking for these prompts? Have you got your own dice game? Let me know what prompts your dice game picked for you. I know there's a few of you out there who have started your own games, so that makes me really happy. And if you're not playing along with any of these games, if you're not engaging in any of this silliness, I don't blame you. Just let me know what your priorities will be over the coming weeks, because I'm nosy. I love to be inspired by all of your lovely works in progress too. With that being said, I shall leave you to it, and I hopefully will see you again for the next making video. There'll be more content coming up here soon, but until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.